Good evening. Welcome to Admitted Student Day. I'm Libby Bonnell, Assistant Director of Admissions, and I'm delighted that you all are joining us today. So I know there's a lot of uneasiness in everyone's lives right now, and one uncertainty I hope to help you with today is your college decision. All of you were admitted to Grand Valley. We want you to be a part of this Laker community. I hope this session will help you decide that you want to be a part of this unique community too. Additionally, we want to walk you through the next steps leading up to August 30th, the first day of classes. Before we dive in, let's go over the agenda and some housekeeping. Throughout this 45-minute session, my colleague is going to be answering your questions in the Q&A. I encourage you to ask a question or two, or simply state exactly what you wish to get out of today's session. So if we don't answer them live, we will privately in the Q&A. We will also be placing helpful information and links in the chat box, so I hope you can pay attention to that as well. First, we'll discuss the student experience you may have if you decide to attend Grand Valley in the fall. I'll cover a few items, but Professor Sherman will talk about the academic experience. We will also talk about financial aid and paying for school. Then you'll be hearing from some GVSU students and their experience on campus. We'll go over the housing process and wrap up with steps that lead you to August. So I'm excited. Let's dive in. Once you become a member of the Laker community, you will soon find your Laker effect. The Laker effect is a movement for positive change. It sets our students apart as passionate leaders and ambassadors. It's what you want to do with your life that will impact your profession, your family, and your society. And the foundation of your Laker effect begins with the liberal education focus. Ultimately, it's about getting a well-rounded education so your degree doesn't just prepare you for your first job, but for the rest of your life. First-year students fill the majority of their fall and winter course schedule with these liberal education courses. It's only 30 to 41 total credit hours, and students take about 30 credits a year. In addition to your first year courses meeting graduation requirements, they will help you explore curriculum to decide on a major. They provide you the critical thinking, writing, and cultural diversity skills that all employers want you to have. So think of the liberal education requirements as giving you the breadth of educational tools to make a long-lasting career, and your major requirements providing you the depth of your industry. The chat includes links for more information on the liberal education program, as well as how AP, IB tests, and dual enrollment credit can help you complete degree requirements. Although we have a wide variety of majors to choose from, we are best known for the health sciences, engineering and computing, and business. Any major you choose can be coupled with the honors college experience. Honors could be a good fit for those who want to be challenged in a smaller community within Grand Valley. Please go to our website for some more information, and you do have until May 1st to apply. So let's talk about our beautiful campus located in Allendale. This is where the majority of our 20,000 undergraduates reside, and this is where the majority of our classes are located. We'll talk more about visiting campus in person in a moment, but I dropped a link into the chat of an 18-minute campus tour we recorded during the beginning of the pandemic. It's actually starring Javi, one of the Lakers you will meet in a moment, and he will gladly provide you an autograph. Depending on your major, you could have some classes at the downtown Grand Rapids campus. Located just 12 miles from Allendale, it's the second largest city in Michigan. And at the downtown campuses, we offer support services that you will see at main campus, even housing and dining. So Allendale provides us with the rich residential atmosphere, and the city allows our students to get engaged in experiential learning. But a very important amenity at GVSU is the free busing system. The bus system called the Laker Line continuously runs about every 10 minutes between Grand Rapids and Allendale campuses. It's as early as 5:30 a.m. and as late as 2 a.m. this semester. Now you can bring a car to Grand Valley and pay a $210 semesterly parking fee, but the Laker Line will take you to concerts downtown or the Meyer Shopping Center just off campus to get granola bars and Gatorade for your dorm room. So I jumped ahead a little too quick, but these next two slides show a breakdown of the undergraduate and graduate programs at the Health and Pew campus. What makes the Health campus so unique is that it's right on the medical mile. You're in the hub of Grand Rapids, next to Mercy Health, Spectrum Hospital, and DeVos Children's Hospital. And your classrooms look like you're in a hospital. So you'll be exposed to this real life simulation lab. You'll be able to work with our high fidelity mannequins that blink and weigh the same as humans. It's amazing. But right around the corner, you've got the Pew campus, undergraduate and graduate programs downtown. GVSU has many partnerships with companies and organizations. Pew is home to state-of-the-art facilities and classrooms like our simulation stock and trade room in the Seidman College of Business. The whole idea around the experience at Grand Valley is to prepare you for what lies ahead. We provide you with so many resources to take what you're learning in the classroom and apply it to the real world. Grand Valley, centered in West Michigan, a 20-minute drive to hundreds of companies and organizations. It's noted that we're also 3 hours from Detroit and Chicago. So our location with the strong network provides students with a plethora of internships and other experiential learning activities. We're nationally ranked for study abroad participation and have over 4,000 study abroad programs. Our Office of Undergraduate Research provides so many opportunities to get you involved in your industry, and it's not just science majors that conduct research at Grand Valley. A few examples, we have students in public health that are studying the impact of COVID, persistent stress on student health and wellness. We also have the psychology department currently exploring the strongest psychological factors that predict who will get the vaccine, as well as how our way of thinking determines how we view the pandemic. But then we have some interesting research going on in non-STEM related majors, like how Black women are represented in popular US magazines. Lastly, Laker Lifetime Learning, better known as L3, support doesn't just end when you graduate Grand Valley. You will continue to receive financial support to enhance your education, career support, and alumni networking. You can check out the web for more information on that. All right, I've been at Grand Valley for 10 years now, and year after year, I become more and more impressed with the faculty that teach our students. Please read Dr. Sherman's bio here. It's very impressive. Students get to work individually with faculty through mentoring, advising, and research. So let's hear from a dedicated faculty member now. May I introduce Dr. Ross Sherman, Professor of Movement Science. Take it away, Dr. Sherman.
Thanks, Libby. First of all, I'd just like to welcome you all to the event this evening, and to all the students who are here, welcome and congratulations on being admitted to Grand Valley. You've made an excellent choice, which I'm sure you understood when you made the choice, but just as a representative from the faculty, just to confirm that choice was excellent. And hopefully my next kind of few slides will review to you and also confirm to you some of the reasons why that choice was such a good choice. So as Libby was saying, I'm a faculty here at Grand Valley. My role really is to explain to you what we do as faculty that supports you, encourages you, and gets you to where you want to get to. I think we play an integral role in terms of developing you into a learner, and then also this idea of this lifelong learner. Grand Valley is exceptionally strong at a number of different areas within the student learning experience. And you know, one of our key facets, I think, of being faculty here at GV is this idea that we integrate our students into just about everything we do within faculty life. Starting off in terms of, for my interest, is research. There's a very active student research body on campus. There's an undergraduate research office that is where most administration of those events happen, but faculty are regularly engaging and getting students to participate in research, not just as participants in the studies, but actually as research assistants. And that starts on day one. So as a freshman on campus, you could start to work with a faculty like myself on their ongoing research projects. Or it may be that you have an independent interest and a faculty can mentor you through that experience as well. And these high impact experiences, as we think of them, are extremely meaningful in a student's lifetime. And there's been some really interesting studies that have shown that the more high impact practices that students are exposed to, the greater their enjoyment of college, but also the greater their academic experience and their academic, I guess, challenges that they encounter. And in the end, it's all about enriching you as an individual and getting you to a place and making you a better student and even a more well-rounded person. As well as research, as Libby mentioned, study abroad is an extremely impactful event and extremely important, and something that we encourage a lot in our studies here. It's a very active program. Obviously, as an international faculty, I'm going to strongly encourage students to be engaged in study abroad. And it's something that we try and remove as many barriers as possible from these study abroad opportunities. So don't think of them as something that's cost prohibitive. If you think about it with plenty of time and plan ahead, there's tons of scholarships out there, financial support to make your experience what it is that you want it to be in whatever country you want. And I think there's tons of detail that come out of the International Center about study abroad. But if you're interested, I would say to you, get involved as early as you can, because the earlier you can start planning these things, the more likelihood it is you can get it organized, and also maybe do multiple study abroads. It's not like there's a limit of one and done. I know plenty of students who participate in at least 2 or 3 of those study abroads, and they can vary from a couple of weeks to a full semester. So think about that as another option to broaden your horizons. We also offer plenty of internships, so plenty of these experiential learning opportunities, and they can look very different across different majors and different areas of study. But most of the programs here at Grand Valley will offer some sort of co-op or internship experience during the course of your undergrad studies. And these are meant to complement the work that you do in the classroom. So we engage with our students. We want you to develop lots of really key learning skills, but then we want to show application of knowledge in these internship and practical experiences. And for my benefit, from my perspective, these are the things that really make Grand Valley the excellent place it is for the student experience. Just thinking a little bit broader as well, and as we think about both what the faculty can provide to the students, but also just thinking about the liberal education that Grand Valley centers itself around, and trying to explain what that liberal education is about. And I think the visual on the slide you're looking at right now is a really great way to think about liberal education. And we have these really key areas that are standalone, important academic and cultural and educational areas. But liberal education is really about the intersection of those important areas and where we get the overlap between maybe an intellectual practical skill or a global cultural knowledge, and what those look like in that interface. And encouraging students to think about liberal education, especially now in the world we live in and the educational model we work through, is exceptionally important. Even looking back into the 2000s, I think the liberal education model has changed quite a lot. Even when I was an undergrad student, the idea or concept of liberal education was very different, and I think minimized, unfortunately. Whereas now Grand Valley strongly encourages this liberal education idea and this philosophy that we're broad-minded, we're globally thinking about how we impact both ourselves, our community, our family members, our friends, whoever it may be we're working with, both on campus and also as we get into our employment and our further careers. And it's also about, as well as these intersections of philosophical ideas, but it's also about the combining of what I may think of as discipline focus. So we can look at independent disciplines, but it's liberal education is about blending those disciplines together. So how does history combine with like maybe a cultural studies, or maybe a philosophy, or maybe even like a chemistry or a biology, and where do those fields meet, and how can we better improve you as a future chemist to be a much more well-rounded individual who can contribute to your professional field, but also contribute in a private and personal way as well to your development. So liberal education, you're going to find it throughout all of our conversations as you go through your career here at Grand Valley. One thing that's especially important, and I think this even still threads into the liberal education, is then, some of the things the faculty do. And I think this is something that really drives me and is something that's a passion of mine, is engaging with my students. And I think it'd be I always enjoy this, explaining to parents and students what it is that faculty do to enrich the student experience. So I wanted to just talk you through a couple of examples of things that I do as a faculty, and I think it's representative of the faculty across campus. And that's really offering my students as many unique experiences as I can. And I've been lucky enough to work with the Detroit Red Wings since 2014, and it comes about by happenstance sometimes, but it's created this awesome experience for my students where, like, twice a year, during development camp in the summer, we'll take students up to Traverse City, as you can see in the bottom picture there. A big group of students come up to camp with me, meet the front office staff, meet the coaching staff, get to test the players with fitness testing and evaluation of their health and well-being. And then during pre-season, we also take another group of students over to Detroit to the LCA, where they participate in similar testing with the players, but obviously this time it's working with a slightly different level. Development camp is working with the young guys. The guys just got drafted and the kids coming out of college, whereas preseason camp is working with the AHL and often the NHL players. So it's a very different experience, but something that makes our Grand Valley students stand out from many others around the region and the state. And I think this is something that you'll see across multiple programs, as faculty supporting their students in ways that make them very unique and provide them with really an innovative experience. You also get to meet some pretty fun people. So I included a picture there of this pretty tall, skinny little Swedish guy I met one day. If you obviously know who he is, then kudos to you as a hockey person. And it's pretty amazing to see these elite athletes in a different environment. You realize they're just a regular person, but when they put on the winged wheel and all their pads and stuff, they're a very different person. But it's fun to meet these people and for the students to kind of engage in conversation and just to kind of break down those barriers. So it's something I really enjoy doing. We've taken over 200 students there now, so that's a pretty amazing experience for them. Another angle or another facet of my work that I really enjoy is the use of, or the combining my students' expertise in the research environment. And without my research students, my work wouldn't be possible. And the research work that students are exposed to can range from classroom experiences. So on the right-hand side there, you'll see my students in a lab practicum class presenting their end of semester research projects. So we do almost like an in-house research kind of symposium. They put their posters on the wall, they stand in front of their classmates and basically give a 10-minute presentation about their work. And this can lead to both internal on-campus research events like Student Scholars Day, which is the middle photo, where the students get to present their research work to their peers on campus, the faculty as well. And it can even get to the point where we get students presenting at regional, national, and international conferences. And this is something that's directly related to the mentorship that we give as faculty. And you may even be lucky enough to see your own faculty on TV. So I had a bit of a joke and put a photo of myself up on TV as just a humorous moment where I saw myself on TV wearing the same clothing, and my wife thought it was exceptionally funny that I was on TV and in the same room. So yeah, it's amazing the opportunities you get and what that may lead to. And what I didn't show on that picture was actually the students who worked with me were actually interviewed by the TV station as well as part of their work. So the students can get so much unique exposure working with the faculty, and it's something we enjoy doing. It's about promoting our students, making them into a better educated person, and developing their skill sets, both in an academic environment, but also in a personal environment, to be able to communicate their knowledge, but also communicate their passions and their real individual spirit. So I think that's something that will always drive me, and I think it's something I'll always encourage students to be involved with. From my angle as a faculty, the best students and those students have the best experience are those who engage in those events and engage with their faculty. And you'll soon realize that the faculty are extremely approachable, extremely friendly group of people, not just the person who stands at the front of the classroom delivering the lecture on a daily or weekly basis to you. So if you can, I'd encourage you to link up with your faculty as soon as you can. Break those barriers down and get to meet them and understand them as a person as well as a professor on campus. So I think my time is probably pretty much up. I'd like to thank you for your time and attention. And if you have any questions, please direct them in the Q&A. And if I can get to them, I can. Or if there's something later on that you want to connect with faculty, I'm sure you can. We can connect you to the right people as well. So thank you and enjoy the rest of the event.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ben Rhodes, and I work for the Financial Aid Office. I'm one of the assistant directors there, and I just want to thank you very much for being here. Now, financial aid is a fairly complicated topic, and so I probably could talk about it for hours, although you would all be asleep. So the goal is to just get through some very good general information, I think, that will help you understand the financial aid award that you hopefully have in your hand. But, and I'll mention this at the end because the last slide has our contact information. We are open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. and you can call and have, just answer short questions or even have long conversations with us. So I just want to say that first. Now you'll see that the itinerary is we're going to talk about the award letter. We'll spend a few minutes there, and then we'll kind of go on to what are the next steps as it relates to financial aid and paying the bill here at Grand Valley. So on the next slide, you'll see, and actually, hopefully, you have your award letter. I will mention if you don't have an award letter from us, whether it was emailed or mailed, that could mean that you're missing some items. And so I would just recommend you calling our office maybe tomorrow or sometime next week so we can take care of that. But you should have your award letter. What's nice is we did email it. We have a new system that's very interactive this year. And so it's kind of divided up into different categories. You see there on the award letter itself that it's divided up into semesters, but I think sometimes it's easier to talk about it in terms of the total year amount. We divide it also into categories. So scholarships and grants, that's the free money that you don't have to pay back. Whereas the work study, if that's on there, because it is a grant related program based on your FAFSA, that is not that's not free money. It's just the ability to work on campus for the student. Now I will mention in a later slide a little bit more detail about that work study and if you don't have it on there. Next, you're going to see loans, typically in the amount of student loans and maybe a parent loan as well. And so we divide the award letter out into semesters so you can get an idea of what you might be receiving each semester. But generally, we'll talk about it in years. And so on the next slide and on your award letter, you'll actually see that we actually pull it out into what we think the costs will be versus how much your aid will be. And that's how we organize our award letter in trying to help you understand the actual cost. Now there's something called the cost of attendance. So on that previous slide and on your award letter, you'll see this $26,000 number, or if you're out of state, maybe about $31,000 number, but that's the cost of attendance. That's just the estimate of everything that you might spend. That includes personal costs, transportation costs, miscellaneous costs, things that weren't going to actually be on the bill, but things that you might have to incur in terms of cost. And so on this slide, you'll see that there's an actual direct cost that we estimate for students, and that'll include tuition, room and board. Okay, and then we subtract that total amount of gift aid or grant aid that you don't have to pay back. Then we subtract the student loans, and we don't necessarily subtract the parent loans, or another option would be bank loans. We don't subtract those either because that's kind of up to your choice. Our goal by the award letter is to just help you to understand what items you're receiving, as well as what they are, if they're loans, what interest rate, and then how it relates to the actual bill. And so that's kind of how we organize the award letter. On the online version, you'll also see off to the right that there'll be helpful videos about what are the next steps and about understanding your financial aid as well. And that's what we talk about in the next slide, a little bit about the next steps. So now you have this award letter. You understand your financial aid, your grants, your work study, maybe your loans. You understand the costs. How does it apply? How do you get that money applying to the bill? And so for that, we have a website. You can see there, gvsu.edu/financial aid/accept or financial aid/next steps. Either one takes you to that. And on your digital emailed award letter, you can actually click on those links to go to those pages. But basically, you've got this award and we want to make sure that it applies to the bill. And so in regards to work study and loans, there's a few steps that you're going to have to take in terms of telling Grand Valley what loans you want to use and telling the government what loans you want to use. And so just because you have an award, actually even just because you maybe accept an award, doesn't necessarily mean you're committed to Grand Valley. We understand that you're evaluating different financial aid packages. And that's why if you have any questions, and I'll reiterate this, but give us a call. We can, dissect all the different awards and how that applies to the bill as well. So anyway, next steps, you'll have to respond to make sure you're accepting those loans, telling the government you want them. The one thing is, if you're choosing to use the Parent Plus loan, please remember that it doesn't actually become available to apply until May 1st. Okay. So you've got the award, you're now applying it towards the bill, and that's the next slide. A little bit about applying it towards the bill. That bill won't come until July, okay? So even though you have the award, we encourage you to make a decision on which school to kind of look at by May 1st. So you've got that summer orientation to come to, and then eventually in July, you'll receive that bill. You have about a month to pay the bill. You can see there the due date this year is August 20th by 5 p.m. If the bill's not paid, then your student would be dropped from those classes he or she registered for in the winter, in the summer. And so we'll want to make sure that's covered and that you've taken care of all those steps that you need to in terms of financial aid. That is the only bill that will be mailed. Each subsequent bill, even the winter semester, but in the sophomore, junior, senior year, will only be emailed to the student electronically. So it'll be like an email notification. So, and just as a heads up, you just pay, twice per year, so once per semester, and then we do have a couple different payment options as well. Now, one thing I want to mention in the next slide is a little bit about the scholarships. Our institutional scholarship deadline was actually March 1st. But you may know about that merit scholarship deadline. You can submit any new high school transcripts or ACT or SAT test by July 31st to maybe be reevaluated for those merit-based admissions awards based on your application. We will accept any outside scholarships. So even though Grand Valley's deadline's passed, we will accept any outside scholarships. Like a big one we get is from Community Foundation Awards. I would encourage people in terms of scholarships, the more effort you put out there in terms of looking, researching, and applying to scholarships, then typically the more scholarships you get. If it's 200, maybe another one for 500, another one for 250, every little bit adds up. And, just in that example, that's the cost of books for the whole year. And so I would encourage students to go out there to our website. Even though that institutional scholarship deadline is passed, we do have outside scholarships listed on that scholarship website. So you can see there in the first number, gvsu.edu/myscholarships. Okay. On the next slide, I did tell you earlier that I wanted to talk real briefly about student employment. We have about 5,000, 6,000 students working on campus every year. Only about 800 are work study students. So just because you don't have work study on your award doesn't mean that you can't work on campus. In fact, the majority of students working on campus are non-work study students. Work study is just the ability to work on campus and make money. So there are more job offerings for work study students because as an employer, when I hire a work study student, I only pay for about 20% of the paycheck, where the government subsidizes about 80%. So that's really what that means. Lastly, in terms of your financial aid award, in the next slide, you'll see we do have your award. Hopefully you have that in front of you, but that was based on your FAFSA. Your FAFSA was based on 2019, and certainly last year there was a lot of changes in America, possibly a lot of changes to your income. So conversations, I think that's the best way to, the one thing I would leave with you any questions you have, any concerns, any questions, feel free to call our office again, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. But that special circumstances is just to maybe adjust your FAFSA based on something that happened financially throughout the year. So I think surprisingly, that's all the time that I have. And I know, again, financial aid can be such a complicated matter. I will stay in the chat, so trying to answer any questions that you guys have about financial aid, but we're also around tomorrow. We answer email typically within 1 to 3 hours during the weekday. So feel free to just contact us because, again, I think communication is key with our office. Thank you guys so much.
Okay, quickly, I'd like to jump into a little fun part of the session and introduce some students that attend Grand Valley and ask them a couple questions to help you all out. So if I could have Javi, Demaya, and Scott unmute yourselves and tell us a little bit about y'all, that'd be great.
All right, hello everybody. My name is Javi. I am a senior here at Grand Valley. I'm a sport management major, business minor. I'm the vice president for the club baseball team. I have also taken part in the sport management club on campus, and I have worked at admissions for the last 3 years, and it's a great time. And I am from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Hello, everyone. I'm Demaya. I'm a junior here at Grand Valley. My major is advertising and public relations with a minor in digital studies. I'm from the Metro Detroit area, and I'm an RA here on campus. I'm involved in a couple organizations and clubs, which includes our Grand PR, that's a communications firm, student ran, that's nationally affiliated with our Grand Valley's chapter of PRSSA, which is a PR Society of America. And I'm involved in 2 other clubs, You Beautiful Black Women, which is a multicultural club, and African Student Council.
Hey guys, my name is Scott Mullenix. I'm a senior from Greentown, Indiana, so about 3 hours south of here. I'm studying in communication sciences and disorders. And then along with working in admissions, I'm also part of the football team here at Grand Valley. I also volunteered at a association called Cannonsburg Challenge Ski Association, and then also the Children's Healing Center.
Awesome. Let's see, I'll pick on Demaya first. Since you're coming from the east side of the state, why did you pick Grand Valley?
I chose Grand Valley because of the advertising and public relations program. It offered many opportunities for internships and to grow within that career field.
Awesome, cool. Scott, what is it like about Grand Valley that gives you a sense of belonging, that kind of like makes you feel like you're a part of this community?
Yeah, I think a big part of that really comes from living in the dorms, like especially like for freshmen, because for most students, this is kind of like their first time away from home. And like now you're in a dorm room completely filled with, for the most part, strangers and other freshmen. They're all trying to learn the campus. They're all trying to make friends. So kind of just having like your dorm room open all the time, and seeing people walk through the hallways, whether it's at like inside your dorm, at Kleiner, at the different dining options we have, you really just kind of get this big sense of community. And, from there, you just make a bunch of friends throughout the dorms. Like when you go to the late night over at Kleiner, even though they call it freshman land, like that's where you meet a lot of your friends from. And then, anywhere you go, like you'll see people that like are in your dorms or you've seen at all these different places. I wouldn't trade my freshman year for like anything. Like I loved it so much. I met so many people, so many friends. So
Awesome. Well, Javi, you have like a similarity to the students in the audience. You're finishing your senior year. They're finishing their senior year in the middle of a pandemic. Like, can you give us an example maybe of an experience inside or outside the classroom at Grand Valley during the pandemic that was different, fun, maybe even difficult?
Yeah, so I remember my first marketing class like when we started the school year, and it was just very eerie. We just all kind of like walked in and we were all like spaced out with masks on, and like nobody wanted to talk because it was really weird and hard to listen to people with their masks on. But overall, like we worked really well. It was all hybrid form. So that was kind of a unique experience to like have one day of the week be basically virtual, like on Zoom. And then the other day of the week would be like in person and be like weird because we would never like see the other half of the class except when it was like on Zoom or like anything else, like collaborate. So it was just kind of a unique experience that way where we never saw the whole class there. It was a very small size classroom, but it was kind of nice too because you got to, get more personable with the professor in that way.
All right, Scott, do you have like a favorite experience, a most memorable moment at Grand Valley, social or academic?
Yeah, so I actually have like two of them that really stick out, and kind of like what I mentioned the last question, freshman year, like that was like one of the best memories of my life. I will never forget freshman year of college. Just like I said before, just meeting new people. Coming 3 hours away, I didn't know anybody here, so I met all of my friends that I know now in the dorms in freshman year. Even thinking about that now and like talking about that like really does make me miss freshman year and like everything about it. Just being on your own, for the first time with a roommate. And then my second one definitely has to be being a part of the football team. That's something that, I'll always cherish and always remember. That's a unique opportunity that I was a part of, going on flights to Mississippi, going up to the UP for the first time, riding on a bus for 10 hours. Like there's not a lot to do in a bus for 10 hours. So, being able to be around the guys, like be in the hotel rooms, like all of that was so much fun. I loved it, so.
Awesome. All right, Demaya, tell us about like your classroom sizes. You said you're a PR, public relations and advertising major. Tell us about your experiences you've had with faculty inside and outside the classroom too, please.
So classroom sizes are very small, especially within the advertising and public relations program. Usually we get around like 26, at the max, like 30 students in each classroom. So it does allow for us to talk a lot more. I have a lot of my classes for the past couple of years. I've been with the same people, and faculty they're always there to help. If I have any questions about internship opportunities or I just need help on just the simplest of things, faculty are always quick to respond emails. Office hours are great to go to, and honestly, they connect with you on LinkedIn. It's just a growing learning opportunity even outside the classroom. And I know when I graduate, I'll still have a connection with faculty I've met on campus.
Awesome. Last question. I need to change this slide though, because we literally just a hot second ago won another national championship. Our women's track team, congratulations. The men were runners up, national champs. So anyway, Javi, can you provide an experience related to your major that was super impactful?
Yeah, so my sophomore year, through the sport management club, we traveled down to Indianapolis as a sport management club. It was about like 30 of us, so it was very, very affordable trip. It was like $15 per person. It covered our tour of the NCAA headquarters, the Indy 500 track. We got to go on it, and then Lucas Oil Stadium. So like that's where the Indianapolis Colts play, and currently where some of the NCAA tournament games are being played for basketball. So it's really a cool experience. Got to, visit all these unique facilities. Some of them I've never even, like Indy 500, I heard of it, but I had no idea like what it looked like or anything like that. So it was a really cool experience. Obviously, like I said, very affordable. So that was a really cool thing to see, behind the scenes and whatnot.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you three so much for joining us. I'll let you get back to your schoolwork since I know that's what y'all are busy doing right now. So thanks so much and have a good night. I'd like to now turn it over to Elizabeth. She is an admissions counselor at Grand Valley, and she's going to share the next steps.
Good evening, everyone. Hi. So yeah, I'm Elizabeth Ana Martinez, one of the admissions counselors. Excited to be with you all today. So thank you for joining us. Here in the next steps, we really want to help students just kind of feel like they're getting everything done before their senior year comes to an end. So housing. Our housing application opened up October 1st. Many of you have already submitted your housing applications, and that's great. If you have not yet done it, just know that there is still time. Deadline is not until May 1st. The security deposit for housing is $150, but it is fully refundable up until May 1. So if you decide that you don't want to attend Grand Valley, all you do is contact our housing office, or you can contact admissions and let us know, and we would be happy to refund you that $150. Another thing you've probably gotten in the mail already is the advising and registration. Again, some of you have already begun to sign up for that, but those dates have opened up. They're May through August, and it is $95 for an enrollment fee. That also is refundable up until May 1st. Again, just notify us that way too. Make sure you sign up online. If you're not aware of it, then know that advising registration is the day that you, rather it's the time that you sign up for to meet with an academic advisor and sign up for your first full year of classes. So it's a really exciting time for you to get to meet who they are and then just get to know what classes you're going to be taking for your freshman year of college. Start looking at books too. Now, in the next slide, we're going to be talking about housing. So housing, like I said, the application has already opened up, but we do have 5 different styles for our students to choose from. On the application, you can list the options that you like in the order that you like them, with your most favorite to your least favorite. If you have a friend that's coming to Grand Valley, just put their name on your application and then we will pair you with them. Living on campus is a really great option, as you heard from our students prior. It helps students feel really connected and get that sense of community, right? So it's a really cool way to get to meet new people. Now on the next slide, you're going to see all the different styles and the layouts of those. So if you look in the top corner, you'll see the traditional style. It's 2 students in the room, and then down the hallway are the communal bathrooms that we have for our students as well. Right below that is the cluster style. This is one of our newer buildings, and it's also one of the LLCs that Libby had mentioned in her portion of the Learning Living Center. So there are 2 or 3 students in that room. The bathrooms are communal in there as well, but there are lesser students that share that space. And both of those options, students have a stall for the shower and a stall for the bathroom. So they're still very private. In the apartment style, they come in 2 different layouts actually. So in the top corner there, you're going to see the one where it's like 1 room for 2 students that opens up into a small kitchenette and then a bathroom for the 2 of them to share, versus the other is 2 students, 2 bedrooms. So the option to have your own room. Now the kitchenette in both of those already comes fully furnished with a mini fridge, a microwave stove and oven, all for the students to utilize. We just ask that you bring your own like cutlery, that kind of thing, so you can furnish it a little bit more if you'd like. The suite style is very popular on a lot of campuses. It's where you have 2 students in each room, kind of like the Jack and Jill, where you have a shared bathroom, shower area. So again, these are the 5 different styles that we offer our freshmen. They are the north side of campus. So if any of you have ever been to campus yet and you come underneath that huge arch, that is our north entrance. And as you were coming down Campus Drive, right there to the left would be the north campus where all these housing options exist, right? The next slide is going to explain how campus dining is all enrolled in our pricing for housing. Now our housing starts at about $9,000, but this meal plan of 14 meals per week is already included in that. So it's exactly what it sounds like. 14 meals per week. Students can divvy that up into 2 meals each day if they like. They could do 7 meals in one day and ration out the rest. It's kind of their call. But in it, they also get $225 dining dollars per semester. Now the meal plan, those meals won't roll over from 1 week to the next. They do have to use them, but the dining dollars do roll over from 1 semester to the next, okay? Just not 1 academic year to the next. Now the dining dollars can be used at any of our franchise locations on campus. We have Starbucks, Qdoba, Which, Panda Express, coffee shops, and as you can see there, they're all listed. So this is how we help the students find, what dining places are going to be suitable for them, but it's already included in all of those housing expenses as well. Now, most importantly are the deadlines and dates that are coming up. So as you see here, I encourage you to take a screenshot if you want to take a picture of this. This gives you a really good timeline of things that are happening in the end of your student senior year. So as you see there, March 1, we had the financial aid FAFSA filing form. That was the priority deadline, and then so on and so forth, right? A couple of things that I want to mention in here is that on March 22nd, you'll receive an email from our office asking for some additional information that we will use for your academic advising date. This is going to help us in knowing that if you've taken any AP courses, what those might look like, so that we are sure we're signing you up for all the right classes as well, okay? Then if you haven't had a chance to visit campus, please visit our website, gvsu.edu/visit. We do have some dates coming up in April that are going to be opening up, as well as in May. So if you haven't had a chance to visit campus, I know that a lot of you have not. We are going to have some dates opening. And we also have self-guided tours available. You're more than welcome to come visit campus at any point and just walk around. We ask that you just do so safely. There is a website that they just put into the chat that you're more than welcome to look at on your phones and give you a good little view of everything going on. I do want to also encourage you to know that we do have a couple of plans in place for how the fall semester will start. So Plan A allows for us to have 75% of our students in class. That's, everything going well, we're up on the up and up. And then Plan B is that we host classes virtually. So we will continuously keep everyone informed of what the steps are and going about it that way. And then lastly, this is our send off. So I want to thank you all so much. I think that's the last slide. Yeah. So thank you all so much for joining us today. We had a great time being able to just experience this with you, showing you all the different things about Grand Valley. Please take down our information there. As you can see, all of our emails are listed so that if you do have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. We're here to help you finalize these next steps for yourself and your students, and hopefully see you in the fall semester.